hunger and environmental degradation are deeply linked. Second, fair access to technology. We need climate-smart tools, biotechnologies, and digital agriculture tailored to our contexts. Technologies must be affordable and not locked behind high walls. This is a win-win for all. Third, climate finance integrated into development. Africa contributes least to climate change, but suffers most. Support from sustainable agriculture and land use must be scaled up, not as aid, but as a shared investment. We don't have time to wait for the aid. We are eager and we are open. Anyone who wants to invest and to transform this sector with our continent. Beyond finance and technology, we also need fair trade rules that create a level playing field and a strong global partnership that empower local solutions. We must ensure the voice of smallholder farmers who feed over 70% of Africa is heard and supported. Let us work towards a future where no child goes to bed hungry, where rural prosperity is a reality, and where food systems serve both people and planet. Ethiopia remains committed to working with the African Union, our partners, and the United Nations to drive this agenda forward. This Addis Ababa summit must mark the moment we match words with will, pledged with resources, and commitments with the courage to deliver. I thank you.
Your Excellency, Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed, for those powerful and inspiring words. Ladies and gentlemen, we now turn to our esteemed co-hosting nation, the Republic of Italy. It is a great honor to welcome Her Excellency Giorgia Meloni, Prime Minister and President of the
Ministers of the Italian Republic.
Well, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to be here today to co-chair the third United Nations Food Systems Summit with Prime Minister Abiy. Thank you very much. Whom I thank once again for his hospitality and for his friendship. This is the first time that this summit is being held in Africa. We choose to co-organize this event in Addis Ababa government, not only because Italy has a special relation with Ethiopia and a pragmatic cooperation based on concrete projects and initiatives, but also because we believe it is essential to involve the African continent as a protagonist in the choices and actions of the international community. Starting, of course, with the momentous challenge that is the subject of our works today, which is food security. This is a top priority challenge demonstrated by the broad and qualified participation in this summit and the presence of the UN Deputy Secretary General Mohammed, whom I greet and thank. Although it has drastically decreased over the last 70 years, global food insecurity still affects around 10% of the world's population. And this percentage is largely concentrated here in Africa, where 1 on 5 people suffer from hunger and do not have access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food to lead a healthy life. This situation, already complex, has been exacerbated by the crisis the world is currently facing. While we were working to overcome the shock of the pandemic, we had to deal with Russia's war against Ukraine, which disrupted economic and trade flows and processes, destabilized energy markets, and fueled waves of inflation that hit the most fragile nations, especially in the global south and in Africa. And we know very well that when people do not have access to sufficient food or lose the means to produce it, the consequences can be catastrophic. Poverty worsens, conflicts intensify, and communities become more vulnerable to violence, terrorism, or forced migration. Food insecurity is therefore, in its every aspect, a political issue, but not only. It is also, and above all, an economic issue. We would be making a serious mistake if we limited ourselves to looking at food systems through the face of poverty, suffering, and hunger. Food systems are an engine of growth and development, both for the most fragile nations and for those that are economically more solid. At the heart of our action, there must therefore be the development for the communities where we choose to focus our efforts on. And it is not enough to help those communities to produce the food needed to feed the population, but it is also necessary for that food to be marketed, to have access to markets with solid and resilient production and distribution chains. This is the only way we can enable a community to prosper with the resources it possesses, generating employment and stable, lasting growth. This is Italy's point of view, and it is the red line that links the initiatives and projects of the Mattei Plan for Africa. Starting, of course, with the agri-food sector, an area in which Italy can boast unique know-how that combines tradition and innovation. We have made this heritage available for our African partners, and together with them, we build public-private partnerships that attract investments and it results. We are successfully testing this in Algeria, where we are working to reclaim over 36,000 hectares of desert to produce up to 45,000 tons of additional cereals and legumes per year, creating 6,000 jobs and generating benefits for over 600,000 people. This endeavor is also underway in Senegal, Ghana, and Congo, and aims to soon involve Côte d'Ivoire and President Ruto Kenya. Our blueprint is also working in Tunisia, where we are strengthening capacities and skills for the use of water, a resource around which there will be an increasing geopolitical and sovereignty challenge. But we have chosen to apply this vision to other projects as well, such as the one developed together with the European Gateway, which combines European financial resources and private capital to support the development of coffee production chains in various African nations. And then there is, of course, the centrality of the technical and scientific training, which is crucial to make a difference and must be integrated into a supply chain approach from seed to production to product distribution. In this context, just a few days ago, we signed an agreement for the establishment of an agricultural training center in Algeria, which will serve as a reference point for the Sahel and the whole of Africa. Our goal, we have stated this on many occasions, is not to create dependency, but to support self-reliance. This goal also involves what we usually refer to as food sovereignty, the right to shape its own production model based on their identity. Food sovereignty means not going along with the standardization of food production, which lowers quality and concentrates wealth, but instead investing in promoting local high-quality products. Small and medium-sized farmers and their families are the backbone of agricultural and environmental systems. They are guardians of the land and must be given the means to live with dignity and with a fair recognition of their work. And this is why Italy, with its network of institutions, businesses, and protection consortia, is ready to do its part to promote the export of African geographical indication to European and global markets by building promotion and distribution network. So, dear Deputy Secretary Mohammed, dear Prime Minister Abiy, colleagues, Cicero, one of the most important philosophers of ancient Rome, said that of all the arts from which some profits is gained, none is better than agriculture. None more profitable, none sweeter, none more worthy of a free man. Thousands of years later, this teaching is still valid and shows us the way forward. Food is a right, a cultural expression, the pillar of a nation's identity and sovereignty. But it is also the first step towards being truly free, independent, and masters of our own destiny. I thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency Giorgia Meloni, for reflecting on Italy's ambition and commitment. Excellencies, while he cannot be with us today in person, please direct your attention to the screen for a video message from His Excellency Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations.
Thank you. Thank you. Excellencies, dear friends, I thank the government and people of Ethiopia and the Italian government for co-hosting this important gathering. I regret that circumstances have kept me from joining you in person. 4 years ago, the world came together for the first UN Food System Summit, anchored in the understanding that food systems are about more than food. They're about health, nutrition, climate, decent work, justice, and the right to a better future. Since then, we have seen progress. 2/3 of countries have integrated food systems transformation into national development plans. Over 100 have aligned food strategies with climate and biodiversity goals. 55 countries are advancing efforts with national conveners and strong engagement from businesses, civil society, indigenous peoples, youth, and farmers. The UN system, including through the UN Food Systems Coordination Hub, is their partner every step of the way. Last year's Pact for the Future reaffirmed our shared commitment to food systems that are inclusive, sustainable, equitable, resilient, and rooted in human rights. But progress is not fast or fair enough. Hunger is rising, trade shocks are pushing food prices out of reach. 1/3 of the world's people cannot afford a healthy diet, while 1/3 of the world's food is lost or wasted. The hidden costs of our food systems on health, nature, and human suffering exceed $10 trillion a year. That's more than 3 times the GDP of the African continent. This is not just a crisis of scarcity. It is a crisis of equity and climate. Nearly 40% of the global workforce is linked to food systems, yet many remain trapped in poverty. Climate change is disrupting harvests, supply chains, and humanitarian response. Conflicts continues to drive hunger from Gaza to Sudan and beyond. Hunger feeds further instability and undermines peace. We must never accept hunger as a weapon of war. Dear friends, we know what works. Every dollar invested in nutrition can return up to 3. Sustainable food systems can advance all 17 sustainable development goals, and transformation is underway. Governments are leading the way, integrating food systems into climate strategies, biodiversity frameworks, and national budgets. They're empowering women and youth, scaling up nutritious school meals, and investing in agroecology. Look no further than Ethiopia, where investments, action and climate-aligned food policy are reducing import dependence and creating jobs. But governments cannot do it alone. The private sector must play a vital role, from innovation and logistics to finance and investments. We need responsible business practices aligned with the public good. We need bold leadership and enforceable guidelines for corporate accountability. We must build on new partnerships like the Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty and scale up action across sectors. Looking ahead, I see three urgent priorities. Break down silos. Food systems are everyone's business. We need integrated policies and a global framework that connects agriculture to people, their health, climate, trade, and finance. We must also harness new technologies, including artificial intelligence, to boost production, reduce waste, and create decent jobs across the value chain. Second, address poverty. We must govern food systems fairly, tackle inequality, and deliver on the right to food for all. That means elevating the voices of women, youth, farmers, indigenous peoples, and local actors. Third, unlock and connect finance at scale. Transformation requires investment. We need debt relief, greater access to concessional finance, and reform of the global financial system to give developing countries representation that reflects the realities of today's global economy. We need climate action, including at COP30, to close the adaptation and climate funding with food systems and accelerate the just transition. And above all, we need peace, so that investments can take root and farmers can look to the future with confidence. Excellencies, dear friends, the future of food is the future of humanity. Let us work together to build food systems that nourish every person and grow prosperity from the ground up. Thank you.
Thank you to His Excellency. Thank you to His Excellency, Secretary General Guterres. Your Excellencies, we now proceed with high-level statements from heads of states, governments, and the African Union. It is an honor to welcome His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya.
Your Excellency Abiy Ahmed, Prime Minister of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia, Your Excellency Giorgio Meloni, Prime Minister of Italy, Your Excellency Amina Mohammed, Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. 4 years ago, the United Nations convened the inaugural Food Systems Summit to galvanize global transformation in the way we produce, process, distribute, and consume food. The summit aimed bold and transformative actions to reshape global food value chains in support of the Sustainable Development Goals. 2 years later, at our first global stocktake, we renewed our commitment to maintain this momentum. We take stock once more. The picture is mixed. Undeniably, we have made meaningful and significant progress in providing the world with more sufficient, safe, and nutritious food, contributing to reductions in poverty and hunger. The global food system now contributes between 10% and 12% of global GDP, translating to about $8 trillion or $10 trillion annually. This progress has improved livelihoods, created new opportunities, and raised living standards for millions worldwide. However, this encouraging trajectory is not universal. Starvation, malnutrition, and undernutrition remain a harsh daily reality for far too many. At the same time, health challenges such as obesity and diet-related diseases are increasing at an alarming rate, causing illness and hampering socioeconomic development. Environmental pressures, including climate change, water and air pollution, biodiversity loss, and soil degradation are causing productivity losses nearly equivalent to 12% of global GDP. Data further reveals that current food systems account for over a third of greenhouse gas emissions, 80% of biodiversity loss, and significant pollution globally. These issues are worsened by widespread poverty and rapid demographic shifts, conflicts, high costs of nutritious diets, and weak governance structures. Food markets, while a source of hope, are increasingly volatile. Despite positive production forecasts, erratic weather, trade tensions, and supply chain disruptions are driving up food prices. The Food Agricultural Organization's 2024 State of Food Security and Nutrition in the World SOFI report affirms these concerns. It points out that to 2030, we are not on track to meet our hunger and nutrition targets. Yet, the report also offers hope that the world can still reverse these trends, but only if we urgently reorient the architecture of global food systems. Excellencies, we must act on this hope. It is still possible to reorganize global food systems to accelerate progress towards the SDGs and broader sustainability goals. This requires coordinated focus on 6 key priority areas. First, we must integrate food system strategies into national policies. A unified value chain approach can address interconnected challenges from food and nutrition insecurity to public health and environmental degradation, including climate change. Second, we must strengthen the governance of food systems. Fragmented global responses are counterproductive, and we need stronger policy coherence, greater transparency and accountability, including evidence-based decision-making and capacity building at all levels. Third, research, technology, and innovation hold immense promise for transformation. We must support academic and research institutions with the infrastructure they require, while significantly scaling up investment in digital technologies, artificial intelligence, and climate-smart agriculture. Fourth, transformation must be inclusive. Smallholder farmers, especially women and youth, have the potential to feed far more people than they are doing now. They need our support. Indigenous people and local communities are custodians of valuable tradition, and their full participation must be integrated into decision-making responses. Fifth, the Green Climate Fund estimates that global private sector manages over $210 trillion in climate investments and private equity. We must strengthen our engagement with this sector to unlock the capital necessary for the transformation of food systems. And finally, and of critical importance, we must improve access to finance. Tailored financial products are essential for smallholder farmers, startups, and agripreneurs. We must also promote digital financial solutions such as M-Pesa which in my country enables every citizen to access financial services instantly and securely. Public-private partnerships are indispensable. We must deepen collaboration with financial institutions, both public and private, to leverage their power and catalyze investment, scale up solutions, and deliver meaningful change. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we have a solemn obligation to ensure adequate, healthy, and sustainable food for all, to promote shared prosperity, and to safeguard a resilient planet. Let us take ambitious, concrete, scalable, and timely actions to align food systems with our commitment to achieving zero hunger by 2030. I reaffirm my steadfast commitment and that of the government of Kenya to work with all stakeholders in realizing this calling. I thank you.
We thank you, Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. It is our privilege to welcome His Excellency Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, President of the Federal Republic of Somalia.
Your Excellency, Dr. Abiy Ahmed, Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic, Your Excellency Giorgia Meloni, the President of Council of Ministers of the Republic of Italy, Her Excellency Mrs. Amina Mohammed, Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Your Excellencies, Heads of States and Governments, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to address this distinguished summit at a time the world stands at the crossroads, facing converging crises and unprecedented demands on our food systems. This gathering is not only timely, but essential. We are summoned here not merely to reflect, but to renew our shared commitment to building sustainable, resilient, and inclusive food systems for all. As we grapple with overlapping global crises, armed conflicts, climate shocks, food, widening economic disparities, the urgency of transforming how we produce, distribute, and consume food has never been more pressing than today. For the Federal Republic of Somalia, agriculture is more than a sector. It is the lifeblood of our society, our culture, our survival. It contributes over 70% to our GDP, employs nearly 80% of our population, and generates 85% of our export earning. Despite enduring over 3 decades of socio-economic upheaval, environmental shocks, Somalia's farmers, pastoralists, and fisher communities have demonstrated extraordinary resilience and fortitude in feeding the nation. Somalia today is not only a major pillar. In Somalia, livestock is not only a major pillar of our agricultural economy, but also a critical driver of food security, demonstrating the strong link between crop production, animal husbandry, and the resilience of our rural livelihoods. Today, Somalia is charting a new course through the National Transformation Plan. We have identified agriculture as the engine of inclusive economic growth, social cohesion, national recovery. The National Transformation Plan is a yet pragmatic roadmap that prioritizes private sector-led growth,
public-private partnership and comprehensive value chain reform. Under our productive sector ministry, are enacting policies and programs that promote climate resilience, strengthening rural livelihoods, and connect our producers to both domestic and export markets. Our commitment to ending poverty and hunger is unwavering. In a country where nearly half of the population lives in rural areas and over 4 million people face acute food insecurity, transforming agriculture is not a choice, but it is a moral obligation and a national necessity. Our newly launched agricultural transformation strategy outlines concrete priorities for governance, productivity, infrastructure, agribusiness, and institutional capacity building. We believe agriculture must not only feed our people, it must create jobs, foster peace, and prepare Somalia for the future. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, our journey is anchored in on global solidarity and regional integration. Somalia was an early endorser of COP28 Declaration on Sustainable Agriculture, Resilient Food Systems, and Climate Action. We've revised our nationally determined contribution to reflect climate-smart agriculture priorities and have strengthened our water resources management and early warning systems. Somalia remains committed to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, ensuring no one is left behind. We are in the process of actively implementing flagship policies such as the Environmental Management Bill, the Great Green Wall Initiative, and the Green Somalia Campaign, which advances ecosystem restoration and landscape resilience. These global frameworks are being localized and operationalized through national task forces dedicated to climate adaptation, sustainable food systems, and rural development all over Somalia. At the regional level, Somalia is enforcing its commitment under the Kampala Declaration of CAADB and the African Climate Summit outcomes. Our accession to the East African Community and our observer status at COMESA and CFTA reflected Somalia's clear intent to harmonize agricultural policies, expand intra-African trade, and become an active actor in regional food systems. Institutionally, Somalia is reclaiming its place in the global community with the successful completion of the HEBIC debt relief process. We have regained fiscal space and international credibility to attract long-term investment. My administration remains firmly committed to rebuilding state institutions, decentralizing services, and entrenching inclusive governance. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, while our progress is real, our challenges remain formidable. Poverty is still widespread. Food insecurity persists. Climate shocks continue to test our resilience. Like many nations emerging from fragility, Somalia cannot walk, but we therefore call for strengthened international solidarity and equitable access to climate financing, innovation, and technical assistance. Somalia stands ready to partner with the development banks, UN agencies, private investors, and regional institutions to accelerate transformative action in food systems. In particular, we welcome collaboration around digital agriculture, agro-logistics, climate adaptation, and cross-border trade corridors that will unlock new pathways for our farmers and agribusiness. Food systems transformation is not a theoretical ambition. It is a question of justice. of survival and sovereignty. For Somalia, food security is peace. Cultural transformation nationwide. Every investment in rural livelihoods is an investment in lasting peace, inclusive growth, and national dignity. Let us seize this momentum. Let us seize this moment to move from promises to tangible progress. Somalia is standing to contribute, to lead, and to grow together with its region, continent, and the global large. I thank you, Jason.
We thank you very much, Your Excellency Hassan Sheikh Mohamud. We now welcome His Excellency Azali Assoumani, President of the Union of the Comoros.
Excellence, Monsieur Abiy Ahmed Ali, Premier ministre de la République fédérale de l'Éthiopie.
Ahmed, the Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. Madame Giorgia Meloni, the Prime Minister and President of the Council of Ministers of the Italian Republic. The UN Deputy Secretary General, Amina Mohammed. Mr. Muyutu, the President of the Republic of Kenya. Dr. Sheikh Mohammed, the President of the Federal Republic of Somalia. Excellency Mohammed Ali Yusuf, President of the African Union Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, representing heads of state and government, distinguished delegates. It is with a deep sense of responsibility that I take the floor today on behalf of the Comorian people at this second conference, the stocktake of the United Nations Food System Summit. At this juncture, I would like to warmly thank the government and people of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia for their outstanding hospitality. And I also would like to thank the United Nations for their excellent organization of this important meeting. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, our meeting is being held at a critical time for the future of humankind. As a matter of fact, global food systems are now encountering multiple challenges, including the climate emergency, geopolitical instability, insecurity, demographic growth, among others. And yet, these systems can also offer hope, opportunities and solutions. At the global level, there are several millions of people who are suffering from hunger. Over 1 billion people could be fed with the food which is lost and wasted each year, according to data from the World Food Programme. With political will, the world would be able to procure this food, to process this food, and to ensure that it reaches consumers by improving the performance and resilience of the global food system with a view to achieving the objective of zero hunger. In the African continent, we have immense potential. We have fertile land, abundant resources and the enthusiasm of our youth. Nonetheless, we remain vulnerable in the face of food insecurity, malnutrition, among others, and we're also vulnerable to climate change, post-harvest losses, and deficiencies in supply chains. It is thus urgent that we modernize and transform African food systems. Ladies and gentlemen, in the Comoros, we have made food system transformation a national priority, aligned with our emerging Comoros plan by 2030. We have a clear aim here to foster a competitive agricultural model, a sustainable, inclusive model, which guarantees food security for our population while stimulating economic growth. Thus, since 2021, we have initiated a strategic process through the adoption of a national roadmap for the effective implementation and transformation of ambitious programs focused on our national priorities, which include climate resilience, strengthened agricultural governance, global sustainable production, the development of high added value sectors, food and nutritional security, and lastly, the economic inclusion of young people and women. Among the achievements, we can note that we have been able to boost economic development, improve the animal health sector, boost food safety control, soil analysis, and we provide subsidies for agricultural inputs. We've also launched business competition cases, we've restored agricultural land, and we've adopted we've created agricultural hubs. But there are a number of challenges which remain when it comes to public expenses and public expenditure. We need to ensure that we can boost climate-smart agriculture and also increase access to agricultural credits for smallholders. Honourable delegates, ladies and gentlemen, the Union of the Comoros calls for a consolidated approach on the part of our technical and financial partners so as to add impetus to this trend. We call for more support for agriculture with innovative mechanisms so as to fund our agroecological practices which stimulate value chains and help to boost our resilience in the face of climate change. We call for international solidarity, and we call for an increase in that international solidarity, funneling it towards small and developing states which are suffering the effects of climate change most. And with your indulgence, I would like to note that I am now president of the Indian Ocean Commission, and therefore I think I have the right to say. Lastly, I would like to reiterate the untiring commitment of the Union of the Comoros to contribute to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals and the 2063 agenda of the African Union, as well as of the Nairobi Pact for Sustainable African Food Systems. The transformation of our food systems is not an option, it is a necessity, and our dignity, justice and sovereignty are at stake. Thank you very much for your attention.
Following, we welcome His Excellency Jeremiah Kung, Vice President of Liberia. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is a privilege to welcome His Excellency Kashim Shettima, Vice President of Nigeria.
Your Excellency Abiy Ahmed, the game-changing Prime of the People's Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. Your Excellency Giorgia Meloni, the Prime Minister and President of the Council of Ministers of the Republic of Italy. Your Excellency Amina Mohammed, the Secretary General, Deputy Secretary General of the UN. Your Excellency William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya. Your Excellency Dr. Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud, President of the Republic of Somalia. Your Excellency Azali Assoumani, President of the Union of the Comoros. Your Excellencies, Vice Presidents and heads of delegation, the AU Commission Secretary General, other heads of multilateral institutions, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Independence have united to us speaks volumes. It is a reminder that the storms we seek to weather do not respect geography. Food insecurity is no longer a shadow lurking in distant lands. It is a shared affliction. Whether you live by the banks of the Niger or the banks of the Tiber River, you will find the same truth. The waters that divide us do not discriminate. That is why we must learn to swim. That is why we are here, in this ancient city, where memory and meaning meet. To set sail once again towards a future anchored in abundance, equity, and human dignity. Let me begin by extending the warmest gratitude on behalf of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency, and the good people of Nigeria, gracious hosts, the governments and peoples of Ethiopia and Italy, for creating this moment of global reflection. Since 2021, when we unveiled our National Food Systems Transformation Pathway, Nigeria has journeyed with a clear compass. We have pursued institutional reforms with vigor. We have rolled out targeted investments in infrastructure and human capacity. We have deepened partnerships across sectors and prioritized agro-industrialization as a key driver of inclusive growth. Our declaration of the national emergency on food security was not a cry of alarm. It's the reason we are advancing the presidential initiative on food security, a mission designed to upscale the cultivation of vital staples, maize, rice, and wheat. We are backing this with climate-smart innovations, financial inclusion for smallholder farmers, and an expansion of extension services, particularly for women and youth. Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, we have enshrined nutrition as the head of our development vision. Food and nutrition are now central pillars of both the National Development Plan 2021 to 2025 and the Nigeria Agenda 2050. We have made it clear that nutrition is not an appendix to our aspirations. It is a foundation. The fourth industrial revolution has not only disrupted the old order, but gifted us instruments that were once confined to the imagination. Artificial intelligence, geospatial analytics, and satellite-driven climate intelligence are now part of our agricultural vocabulary. We have tools to monitor production, enhance transparency, connect producers to markets, and reduce waste across the value chain. Our faith in the capacity of our people remains unshaken. In partnership with the African Development Bank, Islamic Development Bank, and EPAD, we are investing in special agro-industrial processing zones. These hubs are not just places of production, they are engines of transformation. They are creating jobs, attracting private capital, and linking rural producers to national and global markets. But production is not enough. We believe that a sustainable food system must also be a healthy one. Nigeria has therefore scaled up investment in school feeding programs, nutrition-sensitive agriculture, and community-driven nutrition education. For initiative, we are placing all of Nigeria's 774 local governments at the center of nutrition delivery. In doing so, we are making the sustainable development goals local. We are transforming pledges into meals. The Federal Executive Council has approved the National Multi-Sectoral Plan of Action for Food and Nutrition, which serves as the implementation arm of our revised National Food and Nutrition Policy. We have also directed the establishment of nutrition departments in all relevant ministries. These are the building blocks of institutional reform and the architecture of nutrition governance. Your Excellencies, this is more than a summit. This is a reckoning. The world is changing before our eyes. The scars of conflict, the uncertainties of climate, the distortions of markets, and the missteps in policy are all calling us to renew our commitment to multilateralism. We must act, and we act. We are under no illusions. The road ahead is long and lined with complexities, but we are not paralyzed by fear. We understand that the world we desire will not emerge from declarations alone. It must be built with patience and persistence, with bold ideas and careful planning, with shared resolve and shared responsibility. Nigeria is ready to listen. Nigeria is ready to learn. Nigeria is ready to lead wherever leadership is required. We are here to champion food systems that are resilient in the face of climate shocks, responsive to nutritional needs, and rooted in local realities. We are here because we believe that the arc of history does not only bend towards justice, it bends towards food justice. Let us live not with diplomatic pleasantries, but with a conviction. A broken food system in any part of the world diminishes the dignity of humanity as a whole. Let us rise with a shared purpose. Let us build a wall where no child sleeps on an empty stomach, where no farmer is forgotten, and where food is not a luxury, but a human right. Thank you for your attention.
We thank you, Your Excellency Kashim Shettima. At this point, we warmly welcome Her Excellency Jessica Alupo, Vice President of Uganda.
Abiy Ahmed, the Prime Minister of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia, Your Excellency Giorgia Meloni, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Italy, Your Excellency Amina Mohammed, the Deputy UN Secretary General, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Your Excellency the Chairperson of the African Union Commission, dear distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I bring you warm greetings from your brother, His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, President of the Republic of Uganda, and indeed all the people of Uganda. And in the same vein, allow me to extend my appreciation to Your Excellency Abiy Ahmed, Prime Minister of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia, and all the people of Ethiopia for the high-level courtesy offered to all of us since our arrival here in Ethiopia. Excellencies, the 2025 UN Food System Summit, TOCTEC, is a crucial opportunity to reassess efforts, share progress, renew commitment, and accelerate transformation in ways that are inclusive, people-centered, and context-specific. Uganda is committed to this process and appreciates the Federal Republic of Ethiopia and the government of Italy, the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, African Union member states, and all partners for convening the UN Food Systems Summit. Excellencies, the food systems agenda sits at the nexus of health, climate change, trade, economic resilience, and human rights. For Africa, transforming food systems is not an option, but essential to achieving sustainable development, regional stability, and economic empowerment. Uganda reaffirms its commitment to building resilient, inclusive, and sustainable food systems that ensure safe, nutritious, and affordable food for all. Our country has undertaken steps to implement its commitments, including but not limited to the following. Firstly, development of a national food systems transformation pathway. Second, establishment of the National Food Systems Coordination Committee and creation of the Food and Agricultural Regulatory Authority. Uganda's food system transformation strategy is firmly integrated in the current National Development Plan 4, which commenced on 1st July 2025, and it will go to June 2030, and it is anchored on the 5 pillars of sustainable private sector growth, human capital development, infrastructure development, and governance and security. As a proactive commitment to this strategy, Uganda launched the Parish Development Model as a flagship vehicle for grassroots transformation. A parish is the smallest administrative unit and a hub of economic planning and implementation. While Uganda's school feeding initiative is more than a nutrition or education program, it is a systemic intervention that integrates local agriculture, health, and community engagement. These initiatives exemplify how Uganda is coordinating multi-sectoral programs, food systems, and health and education. In conclusion, therefore, Excellencies, as we gather here in Addis for the UN Food Systems Summit, Uganda on member states and stakeholders to move from dialogue to action. We deepen global collaboration, scale up innovative financing mechanisms, and unlock the transformative potential of local and indigenous solutions. Let us commit ourselves to the vision that no child, no man should go to bed hungry, and that safe, affordable, and nutritious food is not a privilege for a few, but a right to all. Together, Uganda stands ready to work with partners on the continent and beyond to achieve this. Our commitment is firm and our resolve is strong. I thank you for your kind attention.
We thank you, Your Excellency Jessica Alupo. Following, it is a distinct pleasure to welcome His Excellency Dr. Eduardo Martinez Diaz, Deputy Prime Minister of Cuba.
Excelencia Abiy Ahmed, primer ministro de Etiopía, vicesecretario general
Minister of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia, Your Excellency General General, President of the Council and Ministers of the Italian Republic, Your Excellencies, I have the honor of speaking here on behalf of Cuba.
A las Naciones Unidas y a los gobiernos de la República Democrática Federal de Etiopía y de la República Italiana.
I would like to greet the representatives of Ethiopia and Italy and the United States nations.
La hospitalidad del gobierno y el pueblo etíope y de esta histórica sede de la Comisión Económica de las Naciones Unidas para América.
The Latin American Caribbean Commission of the United Nations. It's important to contribute in the and putting development at the very center of our work. We would like to reaffirm
del Sur demanda la movilización conjunta y solidaria de todos. En correspondencia con los objetivos y prioridades de desarrollo de cada nación, los intereses de su pueblo y las demandas y tradiciones alimentarias de cooperación en el sector agrícola que permitan crear plataformas para sistemas alimentarios con un enfoque de protección social en el que sean protagonistas también los jóvenes, las mujeres y las comunidades rurales. Es imprescindible que multipliquemos la colaboración en nuestros países, priorizando el intercambio de experiencias en seguridad, soberanía y autosuficiencia alimentaria, nutrición, salud, ciencia e innovación, agroecología, extensionismo agrario, tratamiento adecuado a las pérdidas y desperdicios de alimentos y políticas públicas para la transformación de los sistemas alimentarios. Excelencia, será posible mientras prevalezca el actual injusto orden internacional en que billones de dólares se destinan cada año al gasto militar y en el que muchos somos víctimas de medidas coercitivas unilaterales que lastran nuestras aspiraciones. Un orden internacional incapaz de impedir que en Palestina, víctimas de genocidio cometido por Israel, la potencia ocupante, los habitantes de Franja de Gaza se enfrenten a una grave crisis de alimentos y cientos mueran de desnutrición y hambre, entre ellos niños y ancianos. Un orden internacional en que crueles medidas coercitivas unilaterales, como el bloqueo económico, comercial y financiero que impone desde hace más de 60 años el gobierno de Estados Unidos al pueblo cubano, recrudeciendo a niveles sin precedentes, y la inclusión de Cuba en la unilateral y arbitraria patrocinadores del terrorismo, actúan como bombas atómicas silenciosas, lastrando el derecho de mi pueblo al desarrollo. Esta cruel guerra económica no nos permite establecer una agricultura capaz de cubrir todas las demandas alimentarias de nuestra población, al no contar con los insumos productivos imprescindibles como fertilizantes, plaguicidas, insumos energéticos, maquinaria, implementos agrícolas y sus piezas de repuesto, sistemas de riego, entre otros. A pesar de los retos que debemos enfrentar, Cuba no renuncia a buscar soluciones creativas que nos permitan avanzar y contrarrestar el impacto del bloqueo. La Ley de Soberanía Alimentaria y Seguridad Alimentaria y Nutricional, aprobada en el año 2022, facilita el accionar conjunto de todas las instituciones, asociaciones y estructuras nacionales y locales vinculadas a la producción de alimentos, con el soporte principal del desarrollo agroecológico y su demostrada protección al medio ambiente y con tecnologías posibles a producir en cada comunidad o incluso en cada predio del productor y familias. Señoras y señores, los recursos para erradicar el hambre y temas alimentarios están disponibles. Solo hace falta la voluntad política y compromiso para usarlos en beneficio de los pueblos. La cooperación sur-sur ha demostrado que con la solidaridad y la determinación es posible promover la seguridad alimentaria. Urge que la comunidad internacional actúe unida y sin demora para contribuir sistemas alimentarios justos, inclusivos y sostenibles que aseguren el derecho humano a la alimentación sin dejar a nadie atrás. Concluyo recordando al comandante en jefe Fidel Castro Ruz, líder de la Revolución Cubana, quien hace 20 años nos alertaba. El hambre, inseparable compañera de los pobres, es hija de la desigualdad de distribución de las riquezas y de la justicia de este mundo. Las campanas que doblan hoy por los que mueren de hambre cada día, doblarán mañana por la humanidad entera. No supo o no pudo ser suficientemente sabia para salvarse a sí mismo. Fin de la cita. Muchas gracias.
We thank you very much, Your Excellency, Dr. Eduardo Martinez-Diaz. And now, to conclude this segment, please welcome His Excellency Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, Chairperson of the African Union Commission.
Excellence Dr. Abiy Ahmed Ali, Premier ministre de la République fédérale et démocratique d'Éthiopie, Excellence Madame Giorgia Meloni, Premier ministre d'Italie, Excellences Mesdames et Messieurs les chefs d'État et de gouvernement, Excellences Madame la Secrétaire générale adjointe des Nations Unies, Mesdames et Messieurs. Ce deuxième sommet des Nations Unies sur l'inventaire des systèmes alimentaires vient à point nommé. Je remercie les Nations Unies pour cette importante initiative, ainsi que les deux coprésidents. En effet, la transformation du système alimentaire mondial est un impératif majeur. À cet instant crucial, combien d'enfants et de mères sur le continent dorment le ventre vide? Des millions certainement. Aucun doute. Ce sommet des Nations Unies de 2021 a posé les jalons de ce processus de transformation. Lors de ce deuxième sommet, il nous appartient de décupler d'efforts en nous focalisant sur des actions concertées et plus incisives. Certes, le continent africain dispose d'un potentiel énorme en matière de production alimentaire. Cependant, les défis à la sécurité alimentaire persistent. Les chocs climatiques, les conflits et les perturbations économiques, ainsi que les inégalités structurelles en sont entre autres les principales raisons. 282 millions d'Africains sont malnutris. 52 millions de personnes vivent en situation d'insécurité alimentaire et près de 3,4 millions sont au bord de la famine. 10 millions de personnes sont déplacées en raison de la sécheresse, des inondations ou des cyclones. Dois-je le rappeler, l'Afrique ne contribue qu'à hauteur de 4% d'émissions de gaz à effet de serre et pourtant, notre continent subit de plein fouet les conséquences des changements climatiques. L'Afrique a élaboré sa stratégie sur la sécurité alimentaire en 2021 autour de 4 grands axes. Une agriculture intelligente, mécanisée et résiliente, l'innovation et la technologie dans les fleurons de l'agribusiness, vers la ZLECAf en maîtrisant progressivement la chaîne de valeur et la stratégie décennale de développement de l'agriculture en Afrique qui affiche des objectifs très ambitieux. En janvier 2025, nos chefs d'État ont adopté la déclaration de Kampala, qui se concentre sur la transformation du système de production alimentaire. D'abord, en augmentant les investissements dans la résilience nutritionnelle et les infrastructures rurales, en mobilisant 100 milliards de dollars afin de combler le déficit de financement, en demandant aux États membres de consacrer 10% de leur budget à l'agriculture et en mettant en œuvre une gouvernance inclusive. Your Excellencies, this is not rhetoric, it is a resolution. But we cannot do this alone. We call on our global partners to honor their commitments unlock financing, and support African-led solutions. We must strengthen accountability mechanisms, track progress transparently, and ensure that no one is left behind, in particular women, youth, and vulnerable communities who are the backbone of our food systems. UN Food Summit is not just a moment of stock-taking. It is a moment of solidarity and action. Let us seize this opportunity to deepen collaboration, scale up innovation, and build food systems that are resilient, equitable, and sustainable for Africa and for the world at large. Let us leave this summit not with declarations, but not with promises, but with progress. Together, let us nourish hope, cultivate resilience, and harvest a future where the right to food is a reality for all. I thank you for your kind attention.
We thank you very much, Your Excellency Mah Yusuf, Chairperson of the African Union Commission. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed, let us now hear from Liberia. It is an honor to welcome Jeremiah Kung, Vice President of Liberia. Welcome.
Excellency Dr. Abiy Ahmed of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Excellency Giorgia Meloni, Prime Minister of Italy, Head of States and Government, Honorable Abina J. Mohammed, Deputy United Nations, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. I bring you greetings from Excellency Joseph Yuma Boakai, Sr., President of the Republic of Liberia, and the people of Liberia. I extend warm greetings and profound appreciation to our gracious host, Ethiopia and Italy, for convening this very important appraisal summit. 4 years after the inaugural United Nations Food Systems Summit, we convene once more to assess progress, recalibrate our strategy, and accelerate our collective journey towards sustainable, inclusive, and resilient food system. For Liberia, these systems agricultural processes. They are engines of peace, platform of equity, and the pillar of national resilience. Through our national pathway for food system transformation, Liberia has prioritized 3 key areas: nutrition-sensitive agriculture to combat stunting and malnutrition affecting our most vulnerable populations; climate-smart agriculture practices developed in partnership with local farmers and cooperatives; inclusive governance framework that meaningfully engage youth, women, and traditional marginalized communities. However, the true measure of this summit lies that for the accountability. We must honestly ask ourselves, are our actions effectively addressing the hunger that breeds despair? Are our systems reaching the communities where policies have historically fallen short? Liberia recognizes that sustainable transformation requires robust regional cooperation. We reaffirm our unwavering commitment to the African Union Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program
and its strategy aligning with Sustainable Development Goals. We also underscore the critical link between food security and peace building. And this is particularly relevant for conflict-affected states and fragile states. As we look forward to the future, Liberia pledged a continued support to the United Nations Food System agenda. We want to remember the United Nations Food System Summit, not just for its declaration, but for its role in mobilization of food security. Let us invest not only in agricultural yield, but in sustainable stability, human dignity, resilience, and the lasting transformation for future generations. May the spirit of unity and the shared purpose guide our deliberation towards meaningful outcome. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeremiah Kung, Your Excellency Vice President of Liberia. At this point, we invite the esteemed co-hosts and the UN Deputy Secretary General to take their seats and join the audience. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Next, Mr. Luigi Scordamaglia, CEO of Filiera Italia. Welcome, Mr. Scordamaglia. We also have a vital voice from the grassroots, a representative from East African Farmers Association, Elizabeth Nsimadala. Welcome, Elizabeth. And finally, representing the future of our food systems, a youth representative, Dina Kabade. Welcome, Dina.
Yes. And business is not...